Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome back to the second meeting for research methodology on linguistics. Well, for the second meeting today, I'm going to discuss with you again about types of research. So last meeting, we have discussed about introduction, kind of research, and then now we are going to discuss about types of research. Well, my beloved students, we know the general type of research, including natural science research, social science research, humanities research. The second is about types of research based on site. There are laboratory research, field research, and library research. Now, types of research based on purpose. Based on purpose, there are pure or basic research, applied or field research, action research, and evaluation. We're talking about natural science research. Natural science research is specialized in one of the natural sciences and study animals of geologists or plants like botanists or the interaction between them like ecologists in different ecosystems, for example, coastal dunes, rivers, forests, or desert. Scientists are usually very passionate about their work, particularly when they develop an extreme fondness for the fern, frogs, or fruit flies being studied. This is like what we call as natural science research. And natural science researchers should not only have a passion for their subject, but also for making a valuable contribution to society understanding of nature. And in scientific papers, in our ability to protect nature for everyone's benefit. Scientists publish their research in scientific papers, but may also use their findings to inform the management of natural areas, government policymakers, and the general public. To do this, they also present talks, produce popular articles, and policy briefs. So that is natural science research. And we are talking about social research. What is social research covering? The very important aspect, such as social research is the scientific study of society. We are dealing with the society where the people interact with other people in one area. And then more specifically, social research examines society's attitude, assumption, beliefs, trends, stratification, and rules. And then the scope of social research can be small or large, ranging from the self for a single individual to spanning an entire race or country. That's social research. So we are dealing with many aspects in society. And popular topics of social research include poverty, racism, class issues, sexuality, voting behavior, gender construct, policy, and criminal behavior. So this is also one of the most interesting research when people dealing with the social research. And what about humanities research? Research in the humanities can take a variety of forms. It might include studying language, literature, philosophy, religion, culture, and many other disciplinary and interdisciplinary areas. The study of humanities is often described as the study of the human experience. So perhaps our study, our topic, our concern is about humanities research. This is rather similar with society or social research, but humanity research including like music, text, films, artworks, cultural practice, and many other topic and question. So let's continue. Based on site, I have already explained the draft at the first slide. Based on site, there are laboratory research, field research, and also library research. So what is the laboratory research? Laboratory research is research that is conducted in a room or building equipped for scientific experimentation or research. So what we call as laboratory, meaning that the researcher doing the research in a laboratory. Okay, and then the laboratory research attempt to investigate naturally occurring behavior under controlled condition with manipulated variables. And then next is about field research. What is field research? Field research concerns with establishing relationship and testing theories in the field setting and applying to other samples of the population from which the research subjects are taken. So we do the field research. We go down to the field and then find the data and then collecting the data and then we analyze based on the field research. It sacrifices controls and precision to some extent as compared with fundamental research. And the last based on site is library research. Perhaps we are dealing with library research because library research is conducted in a library. Like conducted in a library, in a university, in a college, municipal or private library, where the people can search from catalogs, computers, textbooks or magazine looking for information on all kinds of topics to include in the thesis. So perhaps there is no field research in the library research. They are only focused on the book, on the like primary data from books or magazine, etc. So they are dealing with the research based on the text, based on the library, based on the source they are looking for. And then next, based on purpose. Based on purpose, there are pure or basic research, field research, and also library research. I think we are dealing with this. I just explained. You just compare between based on purpose and also based on site. Okay. Next, based on purpose. Yeah, pure or basic. There are 4 here: pure or basic research, applied or field research, action research, and evaluation. So I think we can discuss this kind of purpose in the class in a discussion. I will going to go to next slide. Types of research based on paradigm. Yeah, this is very important when we are dealing with the research. We have to know, we as the researcher, we have to know the paradigm. There are two different paradigms here, like qualitative and quantitative. So what is qualitative and what is quantitative dealing with? We can see from this slide. The qualitative paradigm is termed the constructivist approach or naturalistic. Lincoln and Cuba, 1985. The interpretive approach, J. Smith, 1984 and 1983, and post-positivist or postmodern perspective. And the quantitative is termed the traditional, the positivist, and the experimental of the empiricist paradigm. Now let's check from the table. We can see the differences between qualitative and quantitative here. Quantitative based on argument, while qualitative based on phenomenon. In quantitative focuses on result, while in the qualitative focuses on the process. So in the qualitative, we are not dealing with any kinds of calculating data, calculating numbers, but we focus on the process. In quantitative, there are numeric data, but in qualitative, data is weight. Data analysis is based on formulas to answer hypotheses, while in qualitative, data analysis is based on the theories. The last, in quantitative, data are presented in statistical analysis, while in qualitative, data are presented in essay. We can see from the next slide. We must familiar with some words when dealing with quantitative and qualitative. This is like the rhetorical distinction between quantitative and qualitative. In a quantitative word, we usually use the word like to relate, to prove, and then to compare, and then to influence, to improve, and to affect. While in the qualitative word, we usually use to describe, to identify, to classify, to discover, to find out, and to explain. So that's the characteristic of qualitative and quantitative when you are dealing with the data. Later on, you have to explain based on the paradigm. Which paradigm will you choose, whether quantitative or qualitative? So remember for the word or rhetorical distinction between qualitative and quantitative research. Now I'll give you the reason for selecting a paradigm. In quantitative studies, collecting information and analyzing data from survey or from instruments in an experimental design involve a shorter period of time that require a qualitative design. And you are, as a researcher who engage a quantitative study, seeks out this paradigm because it offers a low risk, fixed method or research without ambiguities and possible frustration. Yeah, usually in quantitative, people only compare with something, between something and others. While in qualitative, you are dealing with the process, how you combine, how you collect the data, and then how the process, how people doing this, something like that. Alternatively, the qualitative design is one of which the rules and procedure are not fixed. So there is no fixed procedure in qualitative, but rather open and emerging, always developing. That's the typical of qualitative. This design calls for the individual who is willing to take the risk inherent in an ambiguous procedure. For quantitative studies, the problem evolved from the literature, so a substantial body and literature exists which the researcher can build. Okay, now reason for selecting paradigm. You can see the criteria here, quantitative paradigm and qualitative paradigm. Let's check between or in the middle of the table. Skill and experience of the researcher, that's the criteria. And then researcher psychological attributes and nature of the problem. And then you can see in the middle table, technical writing skill, like computer statistical skill, library skill. So those who are dealing with quantitative, they have to capable in technical writing skill, including computer skill. While in qualitative, literary writing skill, computer text analysis skills, and library skills. Comfort with rules and guidelines for conducting research, low tolerance for ambiguity, for time for study, short duration. And remember, when you do the qualitative paradigm, comfort with lack of specific rules and procedure for conducting research, high tolerance for ambiguity, time for length study. So usually qualitative takes longer than quantitative, as my experience, but I'm dealing with qualitative mostly. So previously studied by other researchers, so that body of literature exists non-variable existing theory, while in qualitative exploratory research, variable unknown, context important, may lack theory based for the study. So I think that's all for meeting 2. I'm glad to meeting you all for the second meeting for research methodology on linguistics. Perhaps what I've been explaining to you all will be beneficial for your study or your course during research methodology on linguistics. Thank you very much. Ameka Margianti. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.